thank you so much for attending the Invisible to Invincible Summit, where we're sharing, tips, tricks, tools, stories that can help you move from the state of invisibility to invincibility. And if you haven't, please go listen to the other speakers. Right now we have our speaker Pamela Gort, but we've been talking about different things, and it's been interesting because the common theme that I have recognized, Pamela, no pressure, but the common theme that I have recognized is loving yourself, starting with yourself first, like as we're changing from the inside out. And so if you find yourself in this place where you're not sure what to do and how to take that next step to love yourself, you definitely want to listen to the other speakers. And so apropos, because the topic now is tapping into self-love, right? So Pamela, our speaker Pamela, I've known Pamela for many years. And again, I don't remember how we met because it was so many years ago, but every time Pamela shows up, I just feel good about her, but I feel great about myself. So she transcends this self-love from herself that she has for herself to others. So excited to hear what you have to share with us today, Pamela. You got the floor.
Well, I bet you have them. I think we all have them. If you're lucky enough to not have them, God bless you. They're quiet and they sneak up on you. Okay, what's she talking about, right? I'm talking about those inner voices. The inner voices that are not very nice. And they do damage. Sometimes it's minimal, it's mild. But when it's massive, watch out. You might be wondering, where do they come from? Good question. Well, some of these inner voices might come to us when we're born. So there's really nothing we can do about them. Well, yeah, there is, and I'll get to that in a minute. But some of them come through programming. Yes, you heard it. We're like mini computers. When we come into this world, we've got our operating system. It's our essence, our beautiful, perfect essence, where we have all this love for ourselves. And that's the way we come into the world. And then, wham, we get hit with all kinds of things, from friends and family to Freaky Friday, from pastors to parents to perfume. It comes in all kinds of forms. And what that programming does is it installs different things into your head. Now, let's face it, some of these things are doing it out of the goodness of their heart. They don't know any better because we're born into a tribe, right? And we have to stay in the tribe. And so there's certain things we should do. Oh, I hate the word should. And certain things we shouldn't do. We all know it. It's in our head. It's all these voices that are saying, oh, no, don't do that. Oh, yeah, do this. This is better for you. And it's all meant to protect us. This comes from our old primitive brain programming to get away from that saber-toothed tiger. Run, run. I don't know, when was the last time you saw a saber-toothed tiger? Okay, now I have to be honest, in my neighborhood and all those of us who live in California, coyotes. And for the first time in my life, I have a little dog. She's only 10 pounds, and I bet she'd be delicious. But in reality, no saber-toothed tigers. So we can calm down and stop protecting ourselves as much because it causes us to be small. And Linda talks about women action takers, and we want to be big. Chris Nielsen said yesterday he saw a saber-toothed tiger. Yeah, in his imagination. Well, we could make those up, and then we could just tiptoe around walking on eggshells. When is that saber-toothed tiger coming? Well, I promise you, it's not here. Well, it might be. It's in here. And this could be the most dangerous place of all. So, how does this programming really happen? Okay, it's ingrained in us. In fact, everything you believe right now is programming. And some of it is legit, but a lot of it isn't. Think about what we're going through right now with COVID. Oh my gosh, we have the vaccinators and the anti-vaccinators. We have the conspiracy therapists, theorists, they need therapists, and the non-conspiracy theorists. So this whole idea of keeping us small and safe, we depend on it for our self-worth and our self-value. That's why I'm here today, because our self-worth and self-value we were born with, so we need to return to it. You don't need to change, you just need to find it again, to remember it, because this is the only way that you can have your self-love. Now think about that inner voice that we have. It's often called the inner critic. Yes. Oh my gosh, look at you. Are you really wearing that outfit today? Pamela, oh gosh, put on more makeup. Oh, come on. I hate makeup. But I do love my lipstick because I am a lipstick lesbian. All right, seriously now. It's also called the inner bully. Oh my gosh, think about it like this. Let's say that you were taking care of a friend's child. They were going to summer camp in your part of the woods. And every day they would come back and tell you about their experience. And one day they came back and they said, oh, wow, it was really tough today. I didn't do very well. And you pushed them on the ground. You started beating them and hitting them and criticizing them. Oh my gosh, you're saying, well, that's kind of a crazy example. I would never do that. Au contraire, you do that to yourself all the time, right? All the time. That inner judge can become an inner executioner. Let's say you make a really big mistake at work, a big one. Maybe it costs the company a lot of money. How much are you going to beat yourself up? Probably a lot. And then how do you live with that? Well, there are some easy ways, but I'm going to give you some self-love tips in just a minute. Now, first I want to talk a little bit about the judge and its different accents. Okay, the judge has different accents, and what I mean by that, there are different saboteurs. Saboteur is a French word, and it's getting triggered or sabotaged, and we're always getting sabotaged. So the judge might sound like a pleaser. Oh, you know, you really should just give everything to your kids. Don't do any self-care. Sally Green, what do you think about that? I know you disagree, and so do I. How about the restless? Oh, you know, you could be doing this, but there's some fun things to do, like sit on the couch, watch some TV, go for a walk, maybe make yourself something to eat. How about the hyper-vigilant? Don't go outside. There's COVID out there. Wear a mask everywhere you go, even when you're walking in sunlight. There are many more of these voices, these accents that we might hear, but they're all coming from the same place, that primitive protective brain. Now, I want to make clear that it's not you. You are your operating system. These are programs. They're outside of you. Once you become aware of them, when they come into your life, then you can do something about them. So first of all, how do you become aware of them? Whenever you have a negative emotion. So let's say all of a sudden you're sitting there and you're feeling in a neutral state, and then you start to feel a little irritated or frustrated or stressed. Where did that come from? It came from the saboteur, from the judge. What are you doing sitting there? You better get to work if you're going to make anything of yourself. So as soon as you feel a negative emotion, and I mean things like shame, blame, guilt, sadness, stress, anger, disappointment, you are being sabotaged. What do you do next? You go into a state of neutrality. How do you do that? You remind yourself to do something to get yourself out of your brain. Take a walk. Rub your two fingertips together. Listen to the sound of a waterfall. Meditate for 5 minutes. Feel your feet on the floor. Wiggle your toes in the sand. Do anything that causes you to remove yourself from that brain, that thinker, that judger, into what I call sage and wisdom. And once you do that, then you can make a better response. You can tell a new story. And once you start feeling positive feelings, things like joy, curiosity, creativity, fun, laughter, ease, and joy and flow, then you are in your sage. It's that easy to differentiate. Now, I came here to give you some self-love tips, and I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to start with the 3 self-love expressions that I think are very basic and very simple. But if you haven't done them before, I would encourage you to do them. So you might want to get a pencil, take notes, although I do have a free gift for you, which will have some of this information. So the first self-love tip is called the mirror exercise. Every morning and every evening, yes, every morning and every evening for 30 days, please do this. It will change your life. I want you to stare into your own eyes in the mirror. Take a breath like that and look at yourself. Look deep into your eyes with love. And say your first name and then say, I love you. And mean it. Okay, you got to mean it. So it will be like this. Pamela, I love you. And say it 3 times or more if you can. Do it right before bed and right when you wake up before you brush your teeth. What's going to happen at the end of 30 days? Don't you want to find out? Now, I have to warn you, there may be a little difficultness about it. First time I did it, tears flowed, and they flowed hard. I had never told myself that. Yeah, it's intense. So please do that. That's the mirror exercise. And I promise you, in 30 days, it will be dramatic. And I would love to hear from you. All right, the second step is the Facebook exercise. Now, if you're not on Facebook, you could do it on LinkedIn or even Instagram, or you could just do it in person. You're going to reach out to your friends. And if you do this on Facebook, you're just going to very easy write a post and say, hey, I am doing this fun little exercise, and I was wondering if you could tell me the 3 things you love most about me, or 3 things you love about me, or 3 things you like about me. Word it however you want. And you can put in parentheses to be funny. Please be nice. Of course, they're going to be nice. And I know that people will respond to you because people want to help. It is in our nature. And I want you to print that out or tally it up somehow. And what you're going to be doing is looking for all the beautiful things people say. And I want you to write it down on a list or print it out. And if people duplicate a lot of things, then you can put some check marks next to that. Those are probably the things that people identify in you that they love the most. And those are things that are your gifts because people recognize our gifts. I know Linda was telling us about a similar exercise once, that how can people love us more than we love ourselves? Let's love ourselves as much as they love us. I want you to read that list every day for a week or more, and you will be filled up with joy because people love you for the things that are beautiful about you. And that's what we can focus on. You know, it may not be the things you wish they loved you for, but that's okay because we're all different, and that's okay too. The third thing I want you to do is take a childhood picture, probably around the age of 5 or a little bit younger. Now, if you had significant trauma in your early years, then maybe this might be more difficult and you might choose to just take a picture of a beautiful child and look at that child and visualize what that child's life is like. And especially if it's your picture and there's a big smile on your face, when you were younger, everything was great. You were getting all your needs met. You had so much self-love for yourself because you focused on yourself. You only wanted things to make you happy. That's the way little kids are. They just want to be taken care of. I want this, I want that. They know what they want. And visualize yourself like that. And you will feel that love that you have, that childhood essence. Maybe put that picture on your phone. Put that picture up where you'll see it every day. Tape it to your mirror. That is who you want to remember because that child, that essence is so beautiful. You can't help but have self-love for it. All right, so those are the 3 self-love exercises, and I hope you'll do them. The mirror exercise, the Facebook exercise, and the childhood picture. Now I want to talk about compassion tips. One of the most important elements of your sage is to have empathy and compassion. Now, when your judge is kicking in a big way, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm an awful person, or that person over there, look at the way they're dressed, they're awful, they're so mean, they're so negative. Once you move into sage, can you have empathy for that person who is so awful? Maybe they've had an awful life and they don't know how to be kind to others. So if you decide to have empathy and compassion for them, imagining them as a small child, what kind of energy will you now be emanating to the world for yourself? Beautiful, positive, high vibrational energy that they will feel, and it could have impact on them. But it definitely puts you in a place of not judging. The more we judge others, strangely, the more we have been judging ourselves. So if you're big judgy of other people, guess what? You're doing it to yourself. So if we can stop judging others, we'll probably lighten up on ourselves and we'll quiet that inner judge voice. All right, so here we are. The compassion tip comes from empathy. When you're in a mode of being upset or feeling down on yourself, what I want you to do is imagine that you are your own child, or maybe your niece or nephew if you don't have children, or maybe the delightful little neighbor kid that you love to see. Imagine that they were telling you all of this. Like, I'm worthless. Gosh, why can't I do things right? Why did I make that mistake? Why don't I have a better job, a better life? And start speaking to that child who is you with words of kindness. You start saying, oh, honey, you are beautiful. You're wonderful. You're kind. You're lovely. I love being around you. We can say kind things to others, but sometimes it's difficult for us to say kind things to ourselves. So we're imagining that small child, and it's really us. So the first compassion tip is speaking it. The second compassion tip is a touch. Now, when you're with some friends, and if a friend was telling you across the table at a coffee shop about something awful that happened, you more than likely would reach across and touch their hand or touch their forearm in a way that is intended to soothe them. Let's do that to ourselves. So if you're feeling particularly down on yourself, hold your hand. Hold your own hand. Grab your own forearm. And how about this? Give yourself a big, juicy, warm, come on, let's all do it. Let's all give ourselves a big, juicy hug. Oh, and how about we just say, oh, I love you so much. I love you so much. Yeah, that's it. Oh, that feels good, doesn't it? Love yourself just like you would love a friend who's in need. Thank you for doing that with me. And then the last compassion tip is an exciting one. It's a taste tip. How do we taste love? Okay, I'm going to let you know right now. Get a glass of water. Set it on the counter. Sit across from it. Imagine that that glass of water is someone you love that you're thinking of. Could be a parent, a spouse, a sister, a child, grandparent. You look at that glass of water and you start sending it love. Sending it love. More love and more love. Do this for about 5 minutes. Send it love. What you have virtually done is filled that water with love. And I'm going to tell you, there is an experiment out there done by a Japanese guy where he spoke to water, played music for water. He looked at it under the microscope, and the crystals of the water that had been played beautiful music, that had been spoken to with words of love, the crystals were beautiful. They were bright and light, and they had gorgeous formations, almost like snowflakes. And then he did the opposite experiment. He yelled at the water, called it names, played awful music, the cacophony of sound. And he looked at the same water under the microscope. The crystals were black and deformed. They were not pretty. This is a true experiment that was done. You know, there's lots of people that play music for their plants and they grow beautifully. So now that you have that glass of water, imagine that those crystals are light and bright and happy, so happy that the water is forming gorgeously inside. Now you're going to take that glass of water and you're going to drink it. Ooh. Here, I'm going to drink mine. I've been thinking of all of you this entire time and sending you love. Oh, that is good water. Oh my goodness. I feel full of love. Now that may be a bit of an exaggeration to show the point. What happens? This is called the Trojan horse theory. You remember the story of the Trojan horse? The warriors were trying to get in the castle, so they built this really cool wooden horse and they hid inside. And then when they accepted the Trojan horse, they popped out, right? To obviously do bad things, but the whole idea is we're hiding the water with love so we can fully accept it and take it in. And why yes, Linda, that's right, Dr. Masaru's Emoto's water experiments. Those are great. But we need a Trojan horse because sometimes we can't believe that this water was infused with love for us. See, get it? We're having a hard time loving ourselves and we're loving others more easily, then we can more easily do this experiment. But I would also encourage you to do it fully with love for yourself. That would be the true test. And we will never, ever be overfull. We can keep taking in more and more love and spilling more and more love out. Those were the 6 tips that I wanted to share with you, and I'll review them very quickly. The 3 self-love, Facebook post, mirror exercise, childhood picture, and then the 3 compassion tips, the auditory one, the tactile, loving touch, and then finally the taste, the drinking the water that you've infused with love. These tips will help us all when we're having difficult times, being down on ourselves. You know, we can't just go from being judgers and criticizers and bullies and instantly be fine. The reality is the judge will be with us forever. That is the reality. Yet we can quiet that voice to a little whisper, recognize it, do exercises such as this, and we will feel more in control of ourselves and more in love. And that is what I hope you will all take in from my love to you. Thank you.
Wow, that was amazing, Pamela. Thank you so much. I loved it. Brilliant. So I wanted to share, first of all, go to my Facebook link because I did say, what do y'all love about me? So I did the exercise while we were in that. But there was something you said, the staring into your eyes, the mirror exercise. Stare into your eyes in a mirror and repeat 3 times or more, Linda, I love you. Well, you guys repeat your own name, but that's what I'm going to say. You do this for 30 days in a row. So my question to you is related to the saying your own name. So what's the difference between saying, Linda, I love you, or just saying, I love you, I love you, I love you?
Well, first of all, our name is important to us in general. It's the most beautiful word, I think, for all of us. That is what Dale Carnegie said. And that's why it's important to use our name in general. But for you to actually be telling yourself, so there's no question that I love you is for you. It's important to tie those 2 things together. I believe you get better results using your name and I love you. It really brings the focus onto you.
I love that. And I, for some reason, I started doing this, not that I love you, but just when I have something going on, I would say, Linda, do this, or Linda, why did you do that? You know, so that I could be aware, like I'm talking to myself, or Linda, you're amazing. Linda, you are a pioneer, right? I started saying like my words of affirmation, the I am statements. I don't say I am. I say, Linda, you are. And the reason I do that, and it might not be, this is what works for me. I don't know if it's like a scientific thing or not, but it works for me. So I found what works. And the reason I do that is because my number one love language is words of affirmation.
Oh, yes.
So, and I just saw a hummingbird right outside there, just like spinning around. So cool. But words of affirmation. And so when I discovered that words of affirmation is my number one love language, it's like words of affirmation from others, but I needed to start giving myself words of affirmation.
So it's like from Linda to Linda. I think that probably, that little tweak for you may be really important. Instead of saying, Linda, I love you, you say, Linda, or Linda, I am amazing. You say, Linda, you are amazing. So that's an interesting tweak. Yeah, that would work too.
Yeah, so it has worked for me because that affirmation from others is something that I have relied on, right, for a lot of my life, because that's my number one love language. I believe that's why. And so when I say, Linda, you are, it's as if somebody else is speaking to me, and that's what works for me. So it's fascinating, like finding what works for us and doing it. Finding what works for us and doing it. So Pamela gave these great tips. And you know, it's interesting, Pamela, when I went and I hugged myself, I found myself like normally I would like just do a hug. Wait, normally I'm this way because I'm that handed. So I would do a hug. And what I did was different this time, is I actually moved into myself. Like a real hug, as if I was in person with somebody. And I felt it.
Oh, well, I do want to say, Linda, that you are amazing.
Thank you.
And I'm sure everyone in this Zoom room would agree with that.
Thank you. Of course, I'm not here for all the accolades, but give me more. You know, I'm not going to turn them away. That's one thing I have learned, is that to accept those compliments. You know, just saying thank you was a hard thing for me to do. It was one of the, like you mentioned, the journey, it's not fast, right? And so it's a process of taking, you know, one step at a time. And so Pamela, I want to thank you so much for, you know, being part of this and sharing, you know, your tips for self-love. Tell everybody how they can get in contact with you.
Well, the best way, I guess, the easiest way, because it offers all of my freebies and a Calendly call and all of that, would be to go to my link tree, which is linktr.ee/my name, Pamela Gort. I am the lesbian love coach at gmail.com. And my website is lesbianrelationshipcoach.com. Also on Facebook and Instagram is my name. So you could probably find me in multiple places, but Linktree would be a really great start.
Fantastic. Awesome. I'm so glad you're on this journey with us, you know, just creating so much, you know, so much value. Like when we share our stories, it provides value to others and helps them to see, like, especially if they're where we were, they see that there is a way out, right? There's a way to move to that next stage. And so thank you so much for being part of that, for the Invisible to Invincible Summit.